welcome. We're going to have a fireside chat from the CEO's office of Zilliqa. And it's been an amazing year for Zilliqa. And I have obviously the honor and privilege of President Amrit being with us today to chat through all the things that Zilliqa has done in 2020. We're compiling a report for the community so they understand everything we've been working on. But we thought we'd kind of bring it to life a little bit by talking through some of the ideas, concepts, outcomes, all the things that went to make it such a great year for Zilliqa. So, Amrit, great to have you here. I'm going to pretend to be a professional interviewer and put you on the spot with some questions about the Zilliqa ecosystem.
Sure, would love to. Hi, everyone, those who are watching us.
You know, obviously when I came through the door in February, I'd done a bit of pre-research on Zilliqa, and I was someone who'd attended the official launch back in 2018, I think, in Singapore. And I was very excited about what Zilliqa could do in terms of its TPS, in terms of its tech, in terms of everything that we felt needed to be fixed in the blockchain world. So it would be good perhaps to introduce people who've not come across us before to the concept behind Zilliqa in the first place.
Sure. So as some of you who are familiar with this, Zilliqa is definitely a blockchain platform that aims to solve two main problems. One is scalability, to ensure that the platform provides enough capacity for people to run applications that require high volume. And the second thing was about smart contract safety, to make sure that whatever application you build on top of the platform, it remains safe and secure, especially given the fact that many smart contracts these days handle hundreds of millions worth of assets. In our staking contract, for example, I think it's holding around a few $100 million assets worth of Zilliqa in itself. So you have to make sure that when the contract holds that many funds, it's safe and secure. So these are kind of two very key areas that we wanted to work on, and that's how sort of Zilliqa started.
Now, fast forward a little bit to 2020, we've had a lot of interest in the token. Maybe you can also shed some light on what the token actually does. What's the utility for the token in the first place?
Definitely. So Zilliqa as a token, initially when it was launched, it was very basic token in the sense that you needed this token to be able to pay for gas fees. So whenever you send transactions, you had to pay, you had to use Zills to be able to pay for that. But obviously the use cases has grown over time. Some people could go now on Mintable, where they could buy NFTs using Zilliqa tokens. They could go on ZillSwap, where they could swap their Zill tokens to something else. For example, they could purchase GZIL, the governance token that we have. You could stake them now as well. So you could take your Zills, put them in a staking contract, and on, I guess right now it's around 19% yield, I suppose. And very soon, hopefully, we'll have a pillar protocol where we could you could put your Zill as a collateral and take USD sort of denominated loans from pillar. So these are kind of some of the use cases that are coming up. But obviously, there are much more that you can imagine from using Zill as a token.
And people can obviously spend Zill and get travel credits with Travada.com in a retail environment.
That's also a new thing that happened, yeah.
Now, a lot of people judge Zilliqa by its token price or token value. Do you have a kind of opinion on that? How do you feel when that question comes up?
We have always been a little bit, I would say, silent on this, and for obvious reasons, because this is something that this is the last bit that you can control. This is something that you cannot control. No matter what you do, it's always possible that the price may not reflect what your capabilities are or what you can potentially achieve. So, it has always been difficult for us to, or for anyone in the blockchain space, to talk about price. And so we have done the same thing, which is make sure that what we believe in stays there. We work towards those goals and not worry too much about day-to-day price movements. Having said that, obviously Zilliqa has been a very good performing asset in 2020. If you look at the numbers, for example, until for the last 12-month numbers, if you look at Zill, each from CoinMarketCap ranking and CoinMarketCap in terms of absolute value, and obviously on token price and volume, the trading volume, all have grown. So coin market cap, when you look at 12 months performance, it has been over 360%. When you look at the trading volume, that has actually gone up as well. So it's again around 300%. Token price itself has grown quite considerably from 0.004 to today we are 0.04. So the performance, Zil has definitely done quite well, generally speaking. It has also been a very good performance asset compared to, let's say, Bitcoin, Ethereum as well. So I'm very happy, and obviously, many investors in the space obviously do look at token from a price angle, and I'm very happy that there are some good news for them for this year.
I mean, Lunar Crush has it for the nearly 12 months at 700+% increase in value, and I just wonder if this is something which actually will boost awareness in a much wider arena for what the Zilliqa blockchain can actually do in an open finance context.
Definitely, in any blockchain, as you know, it's all about community. What community can give. It doesn't stand on its own. Zilliqa as a platform has a value. Zilliqa as a token has a value because people believe in it. People are willing to say that, look, if I have this token, I'm willing to spend that for a certain price. So this whole belief comes from the community, so who are willing to contribute back. So obviously, we have seen, as you mentioned, we have seen tremendous growth from the community aspect, and social sentiment as well. That has grown very, very well in the last 12 months or so. And this is definitely reflecting not just on the platform, but also we are seeing, for example, community-run projects now developing some good ideas on top of platform. And some of those projects are not even sort of financed or given grants from us. So they are completely independent projects that are popping up and developing something for Zilliqa. And that I think is very, very powerful. And what I've also seen, for example, is people are now recruiting from the community on Scylla developing, for example, or Zilliqa platform development. And that's, I think, which shows the kind of network effect that we have had in the last 2 or 3 years of work, where now it's growing organically and even without any external funding. So that's very powerful in my opinion.
Yeah, so the OpFi ecosystem is something we talk about quite a lot. Overall, we have roughly 65 partners, but just in this 1 year, we've added 38 partners. Maybe you can talk to that growth.
Yeah, definitely. So the growth obviously has happened on all fronts, I must say. It's not just on tech development. It's not just on, let's say, ecosystem. What I mean by ecosystem is, let's say, app development, but on all sides. This includes market infrastructure. So we have, for example, this year, we have definitely focused a little bit on US market as well. So we have seen, for example, a Binance US listing us, which was a very good news. We saw some other parties like Uphold, for example, which listed us as well. And then we also focused on some to see whether our regional players, regional exchanges could do something as well. And so we have seen exchanges in India, exchanges in Indonesia, exchanges in Vietnam, providing more access, liquidity to Zil token holders. So that has been a good success from a market infrastructure side. Very recently, we announced some of the work that we wanted to do on market making and potentially lending as well. So we did quite a bit of work on market infrastructure. We did a lot of work on building this ecosystem as well. For example, we have seen staking going live. We have seen XXGD, which we have been working with experts for a long time, I think almost 2 years now, going live, going into the hands of users. We saw ZilSwap coming up, and which actually allowed, for the very first time, allowed people to trade their Zils for XXGD. And if they wanted to come out of the volatility of Zil, they could switch to XXGD. That has been very powerful, I would say. Again, a lot of other things, for example, wallet integration has happened as well. A lot of other projects, wallet projects have integrated. A lot of staking partners have come on board, including Atomic Wallet, which is probably controlling. I mean, where almost half of the total delegators are actually staking right now, which is a very powerful message. So it's just a bit of pieces that I think has happened over the last let's say 12 months or so. But I'm very excited of what's going to, how these tentacles sort of grow. Because once, for example, we have ZilSwap, we are thinking about liquidity, for example, how to make sure that the liquidity goes up. Once we had the staking, now we are thinking of what can we do with the liquidity that's trapped in staking. And that's where sort of pillar protocol comes in. So all of this sort of things that we have seeded right now through these off-fi and DeFi sort of dApps are going to grow some more tentacles in the coming months. So I'm very excited about what these things can lead up to.
Yeah, one thing, of course, we get pinged on quite a lot is tier one exchanges and how you go about getting onto tier one exchanges. And one of the things I wanted to kind of stress was that although we might not talk about it, we might not even be able to talk about it, but due to NDAs and so on, they're very much a high priority. So we do have a kind of focus to look at any exchange that is nominated as tier one, and there is a due process, and it can be quite intense and it can be quite technical to get onboarded to these guys. So I was trying to think what's the best way to articulate our focus in terms of exchanges, because we have this balance between tier one and then regional, which is looking quite nice at the moment. So I wanted to give a lot of confidence on how our exchange strategy is. I understand we're on 100 exchanges or so totally. What's your view? Because you've seen it from the start. So
yeah, I must say that it's for the very first time we have a dedicated person to work on market infrastructure, and this is I feel has been very powerful for us, because the goal of market infrastructure is, one, to make sure that the availability of ZIL is widespread. So let's say, for example, if someone is based in India or someone is based in Indonesia or in Vietnam, you must have access to ZIL in some way, either directly through exchanges, so you could go to an exchange and buy from there, or through fiat on and off ramp providers, where, for example, like Transact, Zanpool, where you could go and get hold of ZILs through those platforms. So one is availability, of course, and that availability goes sort of wide, where you go for regional exchanges to make sure that people who have, let's say, an Indonesian rupiah, for example, or Indian rupees, they have an easy access to ZIL. At the same time, going sort of breadth as well, where making sure that partners in the US, given all the regulations and so on, making sure that partners in the US as well and people in the US as well also have an easy way to get access to ZILs. So one is obviously this availability, and the second is liquidity. But let's say even if something gets available, and now I think there's some people in the community where we were discussing this some time back, is why liquidity is important. It's very, very important, because otherwise, even if, let's say today you go and decide to look, I have some money and I'm going to go and get access to my ZILs from a certain exchange. If there's not enough liquidity, you won't even be able to do that. So a good amount of focus has been to make sure that the exchanges that we are working with have enough liquidity. So making sure that there are market makers there available to provide and meet the bid and ask sort of demand there. And so we had informed the committee, I think a month ago, where we basically said that, look, we are going aggressive about it, and there will be professional market makers working on many of these exchanges. Obviously, this is an ongoing process. It doesn't stop anywhere. Just because we got listed, post TGE on some of the exchange doesn't mean that the work stops there. Working on providing access to liquidity and making sure that this becomes available is an ongoing process. So hopefully, once more exchanges list ZILs, that will definitely be shared with the community. And now we are even seeing some news on GZIL, which is exciting, because now it makes GZIL much more visible outside the Zilliqa community, which I think is good news.
Yeah, it's great. I think a lot of our announcements have made impact, certainly in recent months, and people finally understand the strategic logic behind the work that's going on to deliver all of these projects and all of these relationships. And it's really starting to bear fruit. Actually, I was thinking, obviously it's still my first year, so I'm getting acclimatized to Zilliqa and the team. But
I think you know Zilliqa very well now.
Yeah, well, just one thing that really struck me was a head count, which was roughly 30 people. Roughly 30 people. And I'm not sure how many companies have 30 head count are delivering the sheer scale of work that Zilliqa is, and the improvement that we've done in this year. And we've added a few additional people, which we talked to in the report briefly. But it's just, from a management point of view, it's quite incredible what the team is achieving with this kind of resource, and it'd be good to talk to that.
Yeah, I still remember the days when we were, 10 people maximum in the team, including tech and non-tech staff. And even then, our focus was always to deliver what we had promised. And if I compare, again, I don't like that, but I'm sure other people, need a benchmark where say, okay, you are saying this, but how do you compare yourself with someone else? I definitely would agree that our team is smaller compared to many other projects, even compared to, let's say, some DApp companies. But yet, what we have delivered with that small team is something that I wouldn't have imagined initially. We have a small team of, let's say, the Scylla team that we had established, 4-member team this team was able to deliver a smart contract, functional smart contract language within a matter of 3 months, while many other projects have been struggling to do this for years. So I'm very, I would say, fortunate to have a team like this that we have built. Moving away from tech side, obviously, first few years has always been around tech because that was the main focus. We had to make sure and convince the community that what we initially set out to build, we were capable to build that. And we made sure that that was delivered on time. Roughly speaking, given all the challenges that we had, I think being the first one to start sharding, I think we took the challenges quite well. Having said that, we obviously, starting from 2019, when the mainnet was launched, June 2019, let's say, when the smart contract platform feature was enabled, we obviously had to focus more on the marketing side and the other aspects of Zilliqa protocol and ecosystem. And this is where, I had very much decided that, we'll spend a lot of manpower into hiring the right people, making sure that the team is big enough and can capture the other parts that lies beyond the tech area. So we are very glad to have you on board. We got a person to work in from market infrastructure. We expanded the growth team where we have, I think, 4 people now, led by Hanwan. And all the team now we are seeing sort of the fruits of our labor now, which is, as we say, a team is as good as, the company is as good as the team and the people behind it. And obviously it has never been a one-man work. Every team member, the way we work at Zilliqa is there's no hierarchy per se. We all work as a team and people contribute. And I'm very happy to see what we have achieved with a team like this. So focus of 2019 and 2020 2020 and 2021 will again be same, which is tech will always keep on, we'll always keep on improving on the tech, optimizing what we have already built, making sure that the latency goes down, throughput goes up, and so on. We make sure that the platform becomes more and more decentralized. At the same time, a good amount of focus will be on making sure that the platform becomes more visible, more usable, and becomes more used by other parties developing, dApps on this platform. And this is where I think the growth team, the market team has really kicked in the last 12 months. So I'm very, very, I would say, and I'm sure not just me, the community can see the fruits of labor as well. And that's very, very powerful because, you don't have to blow your own horns now. The community knows what we have achieved, and that's a splendid feeling.
Well, we've had some major success with a couple of products, inverted commas. The first one being Social Pay in May, when we kind of debuted that Twitter marketing blockchain incentivization platform and literally blew the doors off Twitter. More than 45 million engagements in 3 days, setting the scene for a kind of revolution in how Twitter marketing is done. And also, we've got over 100,000 followers on our Twitter. So that's a nice benchmark for the team as well.
What I found fascinating about Social Pay, I'm sure that you remember all the numbers by heart. But one thing that I found fascinating was, at least in one of the campaigns, it was not even required for people to go and follow Zilliqa. It was just about tweeting a certain hashtag, and you get incentive for that. And even then, you saw people following Zilliqa, and that's why the number of followers grew as well. So that also sort of shows that even if your objective is focused like this, you may also get some other benefits when you have the right product in place. And this is what we saw social pay numbers coming in. Zeeps, for example, was another sort of marketing and community engagement tool that we launched last year, and that also had tremendous success. If I recall the numbers correctly, we have around 20,000. We still have some campaigns going on right now with Zeeps, but last numbers that I remember was around 20,000, 30,000 people who registered on Zeeps, and that's a huge number. So even if you are able to capture, let's say, 10% of that, and make them engaged on a regular basis, that's powerful.
Yeah, so we're going through our 14 days of Christmas with Zeeps, which is a lot of fun right now. And we're stacking up partners who are bringing Zeeps and Zill to their Telegram groups. Some of these Telegram groups are really quite chunky. They've got 20,000 members. Acoin, of course, is one of the more glamorous parts of this partnership. So they have a lot of exciting projects in hand, and they will continue to promote and work with us. Also, Electronium is quite an interesting scenario for us as well, working with other blockchain/coins to try and help use the power that we have with Zeeps and social promotion and incentivization to just drive a lot of transactions. And Zill Velocity is a phrase we've come up with now for focusing our vision for 2021. And this is exactly the kind of thing we're going to really push into people's hands, into people's wallets, into people's everyday activities. And that's what I'm excited about with Zeeps and Social Pay especially. Social Pay 2 is going to get a fresh coat of paint, of course. We've discussed that publicly, to be a more self-service, so it can spread even more virally. People can use and leverage the power of Social Pay with Zill and with other things like coupons as well. In 2021, there'll be more announcements on that in January, which I'm equally excited about. In fact, our pipeline is looking incredibly fat for the year ahead. But we'll just skirt through to our report, obviously our ecosystem report. We're kind of looking also, importantly, at the developer community. And this is something that we've put a stress on for the second half of this year with our evangelist, obviously Arnav, working hard. And there's a huge number of things that have been done to try and bring developers in. It'd be interesting to talk to that, Amrit.
I mean, I think there are two areas where we focused on the developer side. One is making sure that developers have the right tools, because no matter how much evangelism you do, once developer comes in and if they don't see that they have the right tools, they lose their interest eventually. And so, once the platform was ready, we definitely focused a lot on building tools, building developer tools where it will allow people to develop their applications in a very easy and seamless manner. So, we have a person named Ovidio who has been working very hard on making sure that all tools are sort of lined up one after the other, including, for example, we have recently released Cirrus, which is a very simple tool that allows people to launch all sorts of dev tools just from one interface. We launched something that we call a mock server that allows people to sort of launch a mock simulated environment for testing. But beyond that, once we saw that we have all these things built, it was all about evangelizing. So Arnav, who joined us as a developer evangelist, has worked quite a bit on making sure that the word gets out. People notice what we are working on and the tools that we have developed. So he has been running a tutorial session on YouTube on how to code and program in Zilla. He has spearheaded a few initiatives, hackathons, particularly in India, which, as you know, is a huge market of developers. Even if you're able to capture 1% of that, that would be huge. So we are seeing some clear returns from that. So we have a Telegram group right now, which is very active. We have seen people developing independently outside, developing codes. I have, in fact, one day I was looking at our Explorer, the developer Explorer, and I stumbled upon quite a few contracts that I felt I had never seen before. And I felt that no one asked us, questions when he was writing that contract. So it felt like people are independently writing code and being able to test it, which means that the tool that we have built is being used in the right way. So it's really good to see that happening from the developer community and the outreach that Arnav did.
Okay, well, I mean, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and the number of transactions on the chain have increased significantly. It would be good to get a quick view from the bridge on what you saw, what you see in terms of the number of transactions and where they might go in 2021?
Yeah, so we hit, I think, 10 million transactions a few weeks ago, I suppose. And what is really exciting from the network usage that I see on the chain is that not just growing, but its rate of growth is also growing, which is very powerful, because it means that if 1 million transaction took, let's say, 3 months last year, it's now taking a month this year. Staking alone, for example, has driven close to around, I would say, 10K transactions per day on its own. So single DApp is pushing that transaction. ZilSwap has, for example, pushed around 60K transactions, if I recall correctly. SHD has been driving transactions. So each one of the single dApps or applications that have launched have driven quite a few number of transactions on the chain, and that growth is really increasing. So I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be a day when we'll be able to say that in a week's time we are able to push 1 million transactions. We are already right now from the numbers. It looks like it takes us around 4 weeks to hit 1 million. I'm sure that in a few months' time we might be able to draw it down to 1 week and then potentially to a day.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Well, I guess we can reflect on a great year. One of the things that, two of the things that stood out for me. One was Zil3, which was our anniversary event, which brought a lot of excitement. We should probably talk to Binance a little bit. We work with them very closely on so many fronts, but we still need to wait a while to show some patience before the mysterious announcement can actually be announced. So we look to 2021 on that one particularly. But Zilhive was also a great end to the year in terms of demo day and the partners that we have there. Maybe you can have a quick wrap up on the ecosystem accelerator, and then we'll finish off the conversation.
Yeah, so Zilhive definitely has grown quite a bit. It was initially just a grant program, when we started, let's say 2 years ago. But now it's more of a sort of a combined program where we get educate both developers and entrepreneurs. Then they go into a pipeline where there's a potential pitch to potential investors. And we have seen successes there as well, and successes are basically measured by how many people who start with an idea actually get a decent funding and then are able to have enough time and resources, financial resources, to be able to develop that product, that it's a POC into a proper product. And we have seen that happening. Quite a few, people who came through that program have been able to get successful fundraise from Zilhive, and that's very exciting. And now we are seeing the impact of that, which is, I was mentioning earlier about network effect. Is once those people have acquired funding, they would like to hire people who have the right expertise in Zilliqa and Scylla, and that's what we're seeing right now, which is exciting. So Zilhive will continue to grow. We are going to assign and put more capital into this to make sure that initial capital was around $5 million, and we are going to put more capital into this so that it could expand, make sure that more people get trained to be able to develop on top of Zilliqa.
Great. And then I guess the final thing is Silica Capital. We have talked about that, announcing it at Zil3, and then seeing developments over the recent months. Any thoughts on where that's going to go?
Yeah, so we unfortunately we don't have we can't reveal much right now. All I can say right now is that we are looking for very institutional quality board members to join our board, and that will definitely help us with different things in the future. One, because we would like to make sure that those board members are geographically sort of located, in the sense that if, let's say, we are looking to invest and look at for projects in India, we must have someone in that region who is a board member who could, assist us in case of, if you want to do due diligence of that product, or if you want to be able to tap into that Indian market. So it will be a mix of people who would be, who would provide us the right expertise as board members, and hopefully, so the company, by the way, is officially registered in Singapore.
Yeah.
So we have that ready. It's all about making sure that all the board members are lined up, and then we have our, we can go with the fundraise after that.
Well, I think we've got announcements lined up for months and months for 2021. It's going to be pretty exciting. We've had a fabulous 2020. I've really enjoyed working with the team and with yourself. I guess the future is absolutely phenomenal in terms of every single part of the ecosystem that we are touching on and working with. And I'm very excited to be here, and I can't wait to get into the next year. And I'm sure you feel the same.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel that some people do say that blockchain space, there are a lot of things happening in the blockchain space. In fact, I now, and it's very difficult to catch up. Now I feel that even in the Zilliqa space, even I can't catch up with all that's going on. So it's an exciting year ahead, and I'm sure that we will make sure that Zilliqa and the community will succeed with what efforts that we're going to put in.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen such great efforts from Zilacracy and the guys on Telegram, the guys on YouTube, just pushing the message on a regular basis, really helping us boost the community. I think we can give a shout out to CM Top Dog and Blockchain Andy and everyone else who's driving things like Crypto Mobster. We've got a whole list of really heavily supported influencers pushing the message voluntarily. It's quite exciting to see them adapt and adopt to our strategy and our mission. And
none of this would have been possible without the support that we got from the community. The entire blockchain space was going through a rough time for a while, and we were very blessed to have a community who was supporting us, both on Telegram or different social media channels, but also psychological support is also very important when you're going through tough times. So I'm very glad that the community has been behind us through that journey.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's been an amazing journey, and it's just going to get better. So we appreciate your time, Amrit. That's the end of my official interview, and good to have a chat, and hopefully everyone also enjoyed the sharing.
Oh yeah, lovely speaking with you, and lovely speaking with everyone else. You definitely will share a proper full-blown ecosystem report, and what we share right now is just bits and pieces of that. Hopefully you'll enjoy the ecosystem report once it comes out. Thank you.
Thanks.